Good evening. An American hero has come home. Marine Corporal Todd Nicely got a standing ovation from family, friends, and even strangers when he got off the plane at Lambert Airport. Nicely from Arnold was badly injured in Afghanistan, but as you're about to find out, not even a roadside bomb can stop him. The sound of jet engines were muffled today at Lambert St. Louis International Airport. Hundreds of people showed up for a celebration.
Everybody's here. It's just wonderful.
They were there with signs and American flags, as if a hero was coming home.
I'm so nervous.
And in fact, that's exactly what was happening. Delta Flight 6423 arrived at 10 this morning with Marine Corporal Todd Nicely aboard.
Welcome home.
Greeted by his mom and stepdad on the jetway, Corporal Nicely was home for the first time since October. And for the first time since he lost both his arms and legs to a roadside bomb in Afghanistan.
I want the first one.
Allowed through security, family and friends cheered and teared.
Thank you so much. We love you.
It was hard to tell who was more overwhelmed, Corporal Nicely or his relatives.
What's it like to have him home?
It's great. It's one of the best feelings I've ever had.
How does he look to you?
Pretty darn good for all that he's been through.
Corporal Nicely is just the second American to survive the war after a quad amputation, but showing that this Marine has plenty of fight left. He put on his prosthetic legs and walked from the gate to the terminal.
I'll tell you what, I've never been so proud of a person in all my life.
Yeah, I wake up every morning and I figure I got another chance at life, so might as well get up and go.
And Corporal Nicely is going to get an escort home from the Patriot Guard, the Leathernecks, the AMVETS, and the American Legion. He will have to go back to Walter Reed Army Medical Center to continue therapy. But for the next few weeks, there will be a lot of hugs and handshakes. And the house he grew up in will be home of the brave.
Great having him home. Just great having him home.
Corporal Nicely is a big Cardinals fan, and on Saturday he will be a special guest at Busch Stadium. Somehow very appropriate on July 4th weekend. Good evening. We begin tonight with several breaking news stories. First, an Amber Alert out of Louisiana, Missouri. 4-year-old Alyssa Mayer was playing in her front yard this evening with her brother when a black 4-door passenger car pulled up and took her. Alyssa has brown hair, brown eyes, weighs 40 pounds, and is 3 feet tall. She was wearing a white T-shirt and blue jean shorts. Joining me now on the phone is Mary Foyles, Alyssa's grandmother. Mary, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Can you tell me exactly what happened?
She was playing in the front yard with her brother. The parents were in the house. Kim and David were in the house. And somebody drove up in a black car, and her brother's only 5 years old, so that's all he could tell us. But some girls earlier saw a blonde-headed man driving around in a black car in that area, and we think he might have taken the girl. And I just wish whoever took her would bring her back and bring her back safe.
Mary, we know these are difficult moments for you, but can you tell us, oftentimes in these situations, there is a domestic dispute. Is it possible that it's anything like that in this case?
No, no. The police have already searched the premises and found they haven't found anything like that, and they haven't found her. The little boy, I believe that he saw her get in the car because he told us he did. He's only 5, and I don't think he'd make up something like that.
Tell us a little bit more about Alyssa.
Okay. She's a beautiful little girl. She's got big brown eyes, and she smiles all the time, and she doesn't talk much. But she's a sweet little girl, and everybody's so upset. I'm her great-grandmother, by the way. I'm 74.
Okay.
Her grandmother and her grandfather are down on North Carolina. That's where she was picked up, down close to Pike Medical Clinic. They live down there in a big 2-story house, and everybody's waiting down there for news, and we just heartbroken that she's gone.
Okay. Well, Mary, thank you very much for joining us. Hopefully they will find Alyssa safe and sound, 4 years old, 3 feet tall, 40 pounds. We thank you very much for joining us. Again, an Amber Alert out of Louisiana, Missouri, in the garage. We want to go back to our top story now, an Amber Alert out of Louisiana, Missouri, We now have a photo of the missing little girl. It came into News Channel 5 just moments ago. She is 4-year-old Alyssa Mayer. She was playing in her front yard this evening with her brother when we're told a black 4-door passenger car pulled up and took her. Alyssa has brown hair, brown eyes, weighs 40 pounds, and is 3 feet tall. She was wearing a white T-shirt and blue jean shorts. Anyone who sees Alyssa should call 911. You're watching News Channel 5 at 10. Good morning, I'm Mike Bush in the News Channel 5 newsroom. Breaking news at this hour. News Channel 5 has learned that 4-year-old Alyssa Mayer has been found alive. Now, you'll recall that an Amber Alert was issued for the little girl last night, actually the night before last now. Investigators believe a man snatched her from her front yard at her Louisiana, Missouri home. Sources tell us Alyssa was dropped off at a car wash in Old Town Fenton around 9:45 tonight. She is now being treated at St. Clair Hospital in Fenton. Sources tell me that they were prepared to transfer her to a St. Louis hospital, but that won't be necessary, that she is safe. I'm also told her parents were informed at about 11 p.m. tonight and that they are on their way to Fenton. There is an active search for a brown-colored 4-door vehicle. We have crews on the scene ready for the reunion. But once again, the good news, 4-year-old Alyssa Mayer has been found alive. We'll continue to bring you more information as it becomes available on air and online at KSDK.com.
Our own Mike Bush lives out in this area, and he joins us now live on the phone. Mike, tell us what you've been able to find out in your area there.
Okay, I can't tell you a whole lot. I can tell you, though, right now I am on Horseshoe Ridge. This is about a mile from Kerr's Mill, and that's a main artery in West St. Louis County, and I can see the helicopter from where I'm standing. It does not look like the helicopter has burned at all, but it did take what appears to be a hard landing. It is crumpled. I sent in an email picture. From what we understand, there is one fatality. It is a Missouri State Highway Patrol helicopter. I did talk to one lady who was a neighbor here who was worried about a house. It is about 50 yards from any house here, but it was very close to one particular house. And the woman was concerned because there were 3 young children inside that house. But it must have been a great job by the pilot to avoid all the homes in this area because there's a high density of homes. And it landed right in the middle of the road, and there it sits, all crumpled up on Horseshoe Ridge.
But the chopper went down. News Channel 5's Mike Bush joins us with tonight's top story.
Okay, and Lisa, as you mentioned, this has been a tragic day, but you can't help but think of how much worse that could have been. Behind me is Kerr's Mill Road here in Clarkson Valley. It is a main artery here in West St. Louis County. This is a highly populated area, an area with a lot of homes, a lot of families, and somehow, when the helicopter came down, it didn't land in a yard, it didn't land on top of a house, it landed right in the middle of a street. Let's take a look at some video shot shortly after the crash by Kyle Bucher, a tree trimmer working just a neighborhood away. Pilot Joseph Shingle had flown in an operation in Jefferson County earlier this morning. He is returning to Spirit of St. Louis Airport when his helicopter just fell from the sky at 11:10. Eyewitnesses near Interstate 270 and I-64 report seeing a helicopter flying erratically at least 10 minutes before the crash. And those tree trimmers who arrived on the scene were hoping to help, but they told me when they got there, they realized it was just too late.
It's like the engine was cutting out. Yep. Like it was cutting, you could hear it stalling. Then it started running again, and then all of a sudden you just didn't hear nothing at all. And then you heard a boom, and then it was gone.
And when you got to the scene, what did you see?
A total mess. This helicopter on its backside flipped over and just demolished.
As I mentioned, those tree trimmers were working just a neighborhood away on Wilson Creek Court, but Sharon Stevens has talked with a lot of other people who have been in this neighborhood, and this is really a tragic day and very scary for a lot of these residents, Sharon.
It certainly was, and that's the one thing they said. You know, it started out as a quiet morning in this residential area to normal, Mike.
All right, Sharon, thanks very much. And when I talked to some of the eyewitnesses, they said what they were really concerned about was that the helicopter was going to come down on one of their houses, but fortunately it didn't do that. We're learning more about the law enforcement officer who was piloting the helicopter. Sergeant Joseph Shingle was a 17-year veteran of the Highway Patrol. He had been a helicopter pilot for about 7 years. And with more on all this, let's bring in News Channel 5's Alex Fees. Alex?
Mike, good evening, who also lives here in the St. Louis area.
All right, Alex, thanks very much. I happened to get to the scene pretty quickly after the chopper crashed and before the perimeter was set up, and we did see the helicopter crashed right in the middle of the road. The amazing thing, though, again, it was right near a car, right near a house, but it didn't hit anything else. So we don't know if that's credit to the pilot or not, but it is still very lucky that nobody else was hurt. Kay and Lisa, back to you.
All right, thank you so much, Mike.
To see the Afghan mission succeed. Crystal Nicely is one tough woman. She is, after all, a former Marine. But she says there's nothing tougher than being the wife of a Marine. Her husband, Todd, from Arnold, Missouri, was wounded in Afghanistan in March and is now recovering at Walter Reed Army Medical Center in Washington, D.C. With his injuries, it's amazing he survived. But as you're about to find out, what's even more amazing is his spirit. It may not be its official address, but Walter Reed Army Medical Center is located at the corner of Courage and Valor Streets.
Okay, we can do this.
The bills at this hospital
Come
include the price of freedom.
Need another one of them small ones.
26-year-old Todd Nicely.
Where am I going from here?
Has been here since April.
He's an amazing individual. He's very strong.
With his wife and mom by his side,
adapt and overcome here.
The Marine